Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Good.
Yeah. We are the Uncle Puckers. Chris, Bobby, and Tony, or Dan tonight, rather. Tony is not with us this evening. But so 5 games, preseason games in the books. 1 more to go, and we are, 9 days away from opening night against the Red Wings. This is getting to be a lot of fun, man.
Might as well win them all at this point.
Yeah.
Preseason doesn't matter. Preseason wins, unless you're winning them all. Then it does. It's great.
Preseason does matter. Yeah, wins definitely. And losses don't matter in preseason. Absolutely not. I don't care if they lost every game this preseason, as long as it depends on what you're, I think, trying to accomplish in your preseason. For us, I a couple of spots that needed to be filled, and really just kind of gelling these top lines, which haven't played together yet. They've been pretty much split up, but. I'll tell you.
I get it. You could say it doesn't count, but if you were looking at 0-6 versus 6-0, yes, they don't count. Wouldn't you be a little bit more concerned that you didn't pick up one win?
Well, yeah. What I was meaning, depending on what it is the team's looking for. I think, with the Devils, it kind of does matter because you want that speed and you want that, make sure that you guys are moving the puck and you can score the goals and stuff. Where a team like Philadelphia, I don't think it matters for them, wins or losses. I think they want to just see what they
want to see their guys. They want to.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we talked about before preseason started. Point. That's why I said I'd like them to go in with a winning attitude and win as much of these as possible, just to kind of keep that momentum going. I just feel like when you're a championship team, that's how you should be looking at the preseason. It's kind of a tune-up for going out there and kicking ass. And when you're not that a future Stanley Cup winner couldn't have a bad preseason. I'm not suggesting that. I just really like when you kind of start off fast, and the confidence they have right now, even though it's preseason, 5 straight wins with split squads or half their lineup in each it's a good thing. To their credit, if they weren't doing as well or if they were playing different players and therefore didn't have as good a record, they would say all the right things. But there's no doubt this feels better to them.
Yeah, and, we didn't know how that top line of, Bratt and Hughes and Toffoli was going to work out with Toffoli in there now. And, man, he looks like he's been playing with those guys for years. That
Seamless.
Line is scary.
Seamless. Yeah.
6 goals last night. Jesper got the Bratt trick.
Mm-hmm.
That line was just every time they were on the ice, it was scary. Hughes with a goal, Bratt with 3. Who else friggin' scored? I don't remember right now. I got to look through the notes.
But the passing, that goal aside, all the passing was just. I haven't seen them whip the puck around like that in maybe ever. It looked unstoppable.
Well, you got Holtz had a goal, right? Wasn't that
no, he wasn't in last night.
2 from Marino. 3 from Brad and 1 from Jack.
That's right. Marino had a deuce. That's right.
Okay.
Marino looking good, right?
Marino.
Rushing down the ice.
I watched the game. I don't know if you guys caught it all or whatever.
Some highlights.
What did you think of Simon Nemec?
I don't think he's fully cooked yet. I think he's amazing. I wonder how he's going to do. I want to see him in the lineup. I'm not going to be too surprised if it's not right away.
Yeah, I see flashes of brilliance with him. I still think it's Miller's spot to start, and that kind of makes it harder for Nemec to come in mid-year. I don't know because he's not getting the reps, but it's just the way it seems to me to kind of have a little bit of a more steady presence back there. But from what I've seen of him, he looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, there are some defensive mistakes he's making, absolutely. But that's got to be expected. But
they seem like small, correctable ones. They don't
Yeah.
seem like glaring, like this guy. Whoa,
But man, he's got great vision. That goal that the Islanders scored, where he tried to swat the puck away with his stick. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was coming out of the zone. He was playing the blue line, and it was an elevated puck, and he kind of tried to swat it down with his stick as opposed to grabbing it or getting his body in front of it. And he missed it, and the puck got behind him, and an Islander was off to the races. And I thought, I was like, Nemec is going to catch this guy. He didn't catch him. I don't even remember who the Islander player was, but they scored on it. There was some good and bad and ugly from last night's game. I mean, I think that Hughes line is just awesome. I mean, that line is so freaking good. I liked the McLeod line. I thought they played pretty good. I thought when you had Schmid and Sorokin in net, I didn't expect 11 goals. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That was the thing that was a little bit like, wow, holy shit.
I was kind of on and off with that game. It seemed like every time I flipped back to it, I did see the Devils score, but I actually didn't see much of the Islanders' goals.
Yeah.
Did Schmidt play poorly, or was it – he did? Okay.
The first couple of goals, they were – bad tips and just kind of bad breaks. I think it was like the last two goals were definitely stoppable. A couple, he didn't play great, but neither did Sorokin, and it's weird because
some of those goals on Sorokin, like that tic-tac-toe play, was insane.
Yeah, there's no chance on it.
You can't blame anyone for that one.
But I thought Schmid was. It's weird because he seems to struggle a little bit against the Islanders. It's just it doesn't seem to come too easy against the Islanders. Where the Rangers, he locks them down. I don't know what it is about their play that is that this happens. But I mean, I still believe in Schmid. He didn't. It doesn't matter if you let 5 in if the other team scores 6.
No alarms, because it's just like you said. It's absolutely what shouldn't happen when you got those two going, especially Sorokin.
They are two different.
And you have one of those weird, wild games with 11 goals. It happens. It defies logic, and then you move on.
Fun. And it was fun.
It's fun, yeah.
If
you look at the way the Rangers play, though, it is a little different. Like, they have more sustained pressure, where the goalie's kind of under siege for a while, and they can't get out. That's where he was at his best against the Rangers. They have those flashes, especially second and third period, where they're holding the puck in your zone for a while. That's one style, but I thought the way the Islanders play, they're more like a counterpunch team.
Yeah, 100%.
So they don't sustain a ton of pressure on you. They look for a mistake and they pounce, and that is a little trickier maybe for him adjusting to the different styles.
It's awesome too, because now they just showed another way that they can win, and they hadn't had that kind of win yet. They had the shutouts, they had a tight game, they had pretty much a blowout. They didn't have one like that where there's okay, you want to go tit for tat, we're going to win in the end.
Yep.
It's just it was a little bit. Now, if this was our full team and we were letting the Islanders score 5, I might be a little bit worried in a regular season game. But again, preseason doesn't matter. Half of our team are guys that are not going to be on this team. Speaking of which, I saw Dan, you saw it. We saw the article. I just want to read this to you guys because this isn't something I think that we really discussed or even thought about.
I know I looked at the same one as you, and I'll just say I thought it was something I had never considered. Yeah.
Right. So Jonathan Bailey for Pucks and Pitchforks writes, and he titles it New Jersey Devils Recent Depth Addition Starting to Backfire. He writes, the New Jersey Devils are off to a perfect 4-0 start in their 2023 preseason campaign, and most of their roster battles had been settled prior to training camp. Even depth positions, such as the fourth line left wing left vacant by Miles Wood, appears to be filled, or so we thought. With Wood off to Colorado, it was widely assumed that Devils prospect Nolan Foote would get the first crack at making the roster and scoring at least one goal in each of his brief cameos with New Jersey over the last 3 years. Instead, the Devils signed veteran forward Tomas Nosek to a 1-year, $1 million contract. Foote is no longer waiver exempt, so if he doesn't make the NHL roster, another team will claim him for free off waivers. And back on March 3rd, when the Devils traded a 2024 fourth-round pick to the Canucks for Curtis Lazar, they created another similar unforced error. The team already had Nate Bastian before adding Lazar, and then they signed center Chris Tierney this offseason, who has a history of being a productive 40-point player. This time, the issue is that 2 of those 3 will presumably force Tyce Thompson to miss out, even though it's possible that Nate Bastian will start the year on injured reserve, nursing a shoulder injury that bedeviled him throughout the 22-23 season.
That's nice.
I like that word he used, bedeviled.
That's good. Smart.
I get it.
Thompson, 24, actually made the Devils' opening night roster in 2021, albeit on IR, before injuries of his own limited him to just 18 games in total between New Jersey and Utica. Thompson, like Foote, is no longer waivers exempt, and at the moment it seems the Devils are willing to give up on 2 of their more seasoned prospects in favor of older, more expensive, and one-dimensional vets. Nosek and Lazar are both defense-first, penalty-killing forwards who are black holes in the offensive zone. The former has never scored 20 points in his NHL season, while the latter hasn't done so since his second season in the league way back in 15-16. Tierney scored 40 and 48 points back in back-to-back seasons in 17-18 and 18-19, but his production had dipped drastically in direct correlation to his reduced role. Since then, the 29-year-old subsequently found himself playing in the AHL last season for the first time in 8 years. And then he writes here, effectively, the only way the Devils can keep both Foote and Thompson is if Bastian indeed starts the year on IR and Tierney is sent to Utica. As a result, Simone Nemec and Cal Foote will be joining Tierney on the Comets, which shouldn't be much of a surprise anyway. Whichever route GM Tom Fitzgerald and the Devils decide to go, they have to get it right. Foote and Thompson have both had excellent training camps to this point and cannot be given away for free. Their upsides are simply too great to ignore at the behest of experience and special teams play. Now, we never even discussed the idea that possibly Thompson and Foote are going to have to hit waivers, and I agree with that article that there's no way they're clearing them.
Okay, yeah. Now I'd say that I wanted to ask you, like, do we know this is factually accurate and that we were just unaware? Like, probably a lot of fans. I'm not going to feel stupid about it, but never did I think that we would be forced into this corner before the season started. I mean, am I just out to lunch here, or is that something that anybody saw coming?
Well, apparently Jonathan Bailey saw it coming because he wrote the article, but I didn't see it. I didn't even think about it.
I'm just saying, is there any way this guy's wrong?
I don't think so.
No, I doubt he's wrong. You're going to vet this kind of stuff before you go out and say it.
I
think that as far as Foote, I felt like we knew that was a possibility, but we also felt strongly that this is a guy you can bury on the roster to not lose him. I didn't know about Thompson, though. And it seems like right now there's a scenario where we're fine. We can keep them. And then if, maybe you have to just let go of the vet later. If you don't need Nosek and Lazar is maybe the option here if it's a problem.
Well, I remember when Nosek came up, I think we were kind of like, all right, another depth move, I guess. Right. But what really was the point of bringing him in? I mean, if you have to risk what we have now risked. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, was there an upside that I don't know. I really don't. I can't even pretend to wear the GM hat here. But
we discussed a little bit that Nosek could possibly have been brought in because we were unsure about what was going on with Michael McLeod and whether or not he was going to be even playing on this team this year. And at this point, nothing's been done, nothing's been said, so he's on the team.
But even then, Chris, we said, we already have Lazar. So what is going on here?
Good point.
Yeah. And I guess so. Tierney has a 2-way deal, so we don't have to worry about him.
Right.
So we just send him
Not
down,
part of the
and that's it.
Right.
But if Bastian is healthy to play, then you are going to lose one of those guys. You don't have enough spots, so you're going to have to make that decision. That's one of those dudes is going to have to be sent down. And we
are close to that decision. So what would you do? I mean,
the GM looks for a trade partner. You don't lose him for nothing. You pick up a draft pick or something.
Yeah,
or you cut the vet.
No one's going to draft him. Nobody's going to make a trade. For him. If I know that you're
going on waivers in a week.
Yeah, you're going on waivers. No, in a week.
But he doesn't have to put him on waivers. I'm saying he could take one of the two while he's keeping him on the NHL roster, and just try to flip him for something if that's the way he wants to go. But.
Okay, so let's just say this: you have to lose one. Who are you losing? Foote and Thompson.
Right away. I say Thompson just because I've just been a big Foote supporter, but I have not looked at them side by side, and nor do I know which one might actually project to be the better player.
Me too, Bob.
I just like the idea of Foote and the way he plays, and I thought that's always something that we needed.
Of what I saw this preseason, I got to say Foote looks more dynamic, between the two, but neither's cooked, and we don't know where they're going to be. I don't even know. I honestly don't know.
I think Thompson had a better preseason so far, a better camp so far. But I think Foote has a higher ceiling, especially with what you get. Foote came over with the Blake Coleman trade. Like, you gave something up for Foote.
Good point. Right.
Albeit how long ago it was, but still, you gave something up for him. I'd like to see Foote on this team. I mean, maybe the best thing to do is, throw Bastian on IR. But then, you do run into a problem. So if Nosek and Lazar are playing and the team's doing great and they're playing really well, and now you have Foote and Thompson sitting up in the healthy scratches, sitting up in the suite watching on, you can't send them down, which means they're not getting time playing in Utica. So you're basically just relegating them to practice and sitting on the bench.
That seems like a hole in their logic when they come up with these rules.
You know what it really feels
like? What world should young players like that have to sit? We pay them to not play the game when they should be developing.
This feels like a team that's like been to the conference finals, maybe lost in like a team that's legitimately, I'm ready to go, and I'm willing to bring in a couple vets for making a team that much better, even if it means I got to lose a couple of young guys for nothing because I want to win the cup this year, which would be a little premature for the Devils. I mean, they're a hell of a team. They're picked to be one of the best, but
it's kind of ahead of their messaging. They're always telling us, we didn't even expect to be this far is kind of the vibe you get from them. Like, we believe in this team, but we're not done yet. So you're right. That's way ahead of their messaging.
Yeah, because even all we knew as a group, without knowing about how much time they had left on their contracts, was that the moves did seem weird. We're kind of like, why, Now it is a lot more confusing.
We thought at the time that there was definitely something coming down the pipe relatively soon that was going to implicate McLeod, and he wasn't going to be on this team, which is the only thing that kind of made sense. Like, you went out.
Which I don't even know where that whole story is. Is there still a shoe yet? Wasn't there a report or something, like some timetable? All this nonsense was going to come to a head at some point.
Well,
or
I imagine that there was a bunch of players that were suspended from playing for Team Canada, I believe. Mm-hmm. Am I reading? Is that right?
You probably see more on it than me lately. I haven't heard much,
but nothing as far as the NHL goes, and nothing about. I don't know anything else that's happening with that. I did think, though, that, like I said, that there was a.
I thought there was some report from the national team or even the Canadian government. Remember, they opened up the Canadian, House of Commons or whatever the hell they have there to investigate this.
Look here, sir. We're going to find the problem here, sir.
There was a bunch of flappy heads that were outraged. Listen, buddy.
I'm outraged, buddy.
This is not about this. This is about sexual assault.
It's a boot.
It's about respect.
Can you tell us again what this is about? Hey, fuck you, buddy. So there's something. Let's see. Did Nike suspend relationship? What did y'all got? Crisis on ice. What you need to know.
Crisis on ISIS.
This is from March 28th, 2023. Says police allege 5 members of the 18 World Junior team of sexual assault. I didn't know that. I thought that there was some kind of suspension. Let's see. You guys can.
No, you know what? Because the reason I asked, Chris, is like we were talking about. This puts any teams with those players in a tough spot. Like,
oh yeah,
if something's happening, they kind of want to know about it. We even entertained the possibility that moves were made because GMs were notified. I mean, we're just talking about stuff that pops into your head to explain the things that don't make sense, like getting these players, right? So we kind of were looking at connecting those dots. There was some of those stories up at the time, but it does make you wonder. Like,
let me ask you guys this question.
Any timetable like around that subject even a factor in these moves? I have no idea.
I thought so, but now I don't think so.
Yeah. Right.
What's the penalty, or can you? So if you sign a veteran to a 1-year deal, like we did for, like, say, Nosek,
okay,
what are the options to just cut him loose, other than you obviously retain the salary and all that? I mean, if that's what it comes down to, so Devils call it $1 million mistake or $1 million backup, whatever you want to call it, right?
Sure,
they can do that, can't they?
I don't see why not. Right?
I believe they've done it before.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you. What was your question?
If the Devils just want to outright Nosek because they don't want to lose their, the young kids.
Here's the rest of your contract money. Just goodbye.
It stays on the books, but can't they literally, like, sit him, not play him, send him down even though he is on a one-way deal? Like there's something they can do.
I think there's something about
Who
that.
are you talking
I'm
about?
Not going to have a
Say Nosek, for example.
for instance. Yeah.
You can't send him down.
Right, he's not a two-way player, but
No,
can't
but
you
could
cut
send
him
them
or
home,
something?
basically, is what he's
Well,
saying.
I think
sometimes they have, penalties for that, though.
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I'm guessing if you cut him, like straight up cut him, he would be getting a salary, and then he'd be able to go sign anywhere else. So you're paying him,
and he'd be on our books for the year too.
Yeah,
But
where
I guess he's not out of the game too. Another team can take him.
Right, if you put him on waivers and somebody else takes him, somebody else claims his contract, claims him as a player, and then he's off your books and he's out of your building. I don't know. Now, this is what I saw. Andy Strickland, he was on the Cam and Strick podcast, and he said, I don't know if he has, I guess he has some kind of in with Hockey Canada or whatever. He said that there's 5 players that will be facing NHL suspensions for their involvement in the 2018 World Junior sexual assault scandal. He even added he knows the names, but he won't say them, though he did mention there were some significant ones.
What's the timetable on this?
Well, as it says here, back in May, news broke that Hockday said, okay, this is still going on from 2018. Many players have made statements that they weren't involved, but others have not yet commented. St. Louis Blues forward Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, who were members of that team, released separate statements on social media claiming they had no involvement. The agency representing Carter Hart, Jake Beal, Cale Clay, Colton Point, and Taylor Radish released a statement denying their involvement in the incident. 4 players from the Canadian Championship team, Cale Makar, Victor Met, Connor Timmins, Sam Steele, and Zona Gajovic have also publicly stated they were not involved. Ottawa's Drake Batherson and Alex Formenton were trending because they never made a statement. Formenton failed to come to an agreement with the Senators. Okay, that doesn't matter. I'm just looking for McLeod's name. The players were not identified in court documents, but it just says, it looks like we will soon know the names linked to the upcoming suspensions. That's all it says. So there's still...
And McLeod's name isn't even mentioned in that article.
Not in that one. He was definitely mentioned as a guy that was one of the dudes that did not make any comments.
That I recall.
So
that story, he kind of stood alone
maybe it still has to do with that. Maybe that's still something. Maybe Fitzgerald knows something that we don't. Possibly. I'd hate for that to happen. I don't want that to hang over this team.
He's got a plan and he's got a contingency for each problem.
You're right.
And he also, in that role, listen, you gotta be able to say this is like an acceptable loss if it comes down to it. I'm taking this chance because of X. Hopefully it works out, but if we have to lose a guy because of it,
right.
We're moving forward, trying to win a Stanley Cup.
What you're saying, it's an insurance policy
it's
against
a hard
this
business.
That, it's unfortunately that insurance policy may or may not be used as far as his career goes, but it's very possible on insurance policy on this a possibility for McLeod.
On this team right now, I like this team better with Nosek and Lazar on it than Foote and Thompson.
I haven't seen Nosek really do much. I've seen and heard and felt Lazar when I'm watching the games, but not Nosek. So as far as I'm concerned, we could ship him out and throw Foote in there. But I might have just not noticed.
Here's the other thing,
you know what I mean?
The grit guys that are a little older usually bring a little bit more grit.
Yeah.
And both those guys have a little bit more experience to go with that. So, are they playing the position acceptably well? Are their numbers good? That's all good. But the intangible of grit, something this team really needed that they can bring, is probably better at this point than the younger guys who, by the time they are developed,
we need all 3 of them on that line doing it.
Yeah. But I mean, really, what it comes down to, you have to look at this. You can't look at this and say, what the person who wrote the article said, they're not productive offensively. I don't give a shit. As if that's the last thing we need right now. To throw guys that might not be responsibly defensively, or maybe don't have that grit or play that certain toughness to a game, or even that experience to go on that deep playoff run and keep that. Because I'll tell you, Lazar is the kind of guy, he's a hard worker, man. He goes out there, he does his job, he holds other people accountable, but he also has fun. You could tell he's one of those dudes that lightens
Smile
it up.
On his face.
Yes, and he can kind of ease, a lot of guys, especially come playoff time, keep them calm, keep them chill.
It seems like he's got a leader vibe about him that you don't expect from the younger guys, so I'm not picking on him, but it's just something he offers the team that the other guys don't. And I like him for that, so I don't think it's a bad move. But I also understand, you got this prospect you've been cooking for years, and, basically you said, it's going to get a chance to emerge, but then it never does. And
I know that Tyce Thompson's not his brother, but, he came out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. And then last year he had 100 points or close to it, or maybe even over. I don't know. Yeah. But Tage Thompson just blows up in Buffalo. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's something with the Thompson boys. Maybe we need to get Tyson there. Maybe he's going to be I don't. I mean, if I had to take 2 out of those 4 right now, I'd go with Lazar and Foote. I would be okay with saying goodbye to Nosek and Thompson. I don't want to.
Right. When you sign somebody to a two-way deal, regardless of their veteran status, that 2-way still makes them need to clear waivers to go down. It does not.
No.
So there's a loophole where they could possibly say to Foote, hey, listen, we'll give you a bridge contract 2-way, double his salary for a year or 2 so that they can send him up and down without it.
Well, yeah, it works out. I don't know how that would work with the salary cap, or even if you can. I'm guessing you can do that, where you could probably take your contract as an amendment, make it a 2-way, and like you said, give him a raise. Keep him.
Well, he's an RFA, 2024, so there's no reason we couldn't give him a contract right now.
Yeah,
a 2-year deal to 2025.
That's true. If you wanted to extend him and you make it,
I wonder how many agents would want their guy to go for that, because they might be saying, look, you're going to do that, you're cutting yourself short, because as they get forced into a move with you, you're going to be offered bigger numbers.
Right, but a guy who's making $800,000, if you offer him 1.5 a year,
in 2 years, actually, you can keep him. What you'd probably do is you'd make his NHL contract the same. That's an AHL contract for $800,000.
That's the cap hit. So that's the NHL.
Okay.
I think the AHL is way lower than that.
So you give him his $800,000 and you give him an AHL contract for $400,000 or $500,000. So if he does have to go even down there and play an extra game, play a couple of games, he's still going to make another maybe $300,000 or something like that. I'm not the fucking GM or the number cruncher, but it does seem like that's something you can do if you wanted to protect him from having to clear waivers. It does. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if he thinks he's got a chance to be on most other NHL teams now, he might want to hold out for that, because it's like send yourself to the minors. Does any player really want to do that? I get it. You might be better off as in the minor system of this team, which has like a possible dynasty ahead of them, and they're just telling you they want you to wait in the wings for that.
The bigger problem
as a player, the Devils, I might entertain this deal, but if I was maybe sending myself to the AHL even for good money, on another team that was middling, like why would I ruin my career that way? And basically say I'm not going to play in the big show for a couple of years, and I'm fine with that. Maybe to get a spot on a dynastic team, I would. I get it.
But it's weird because the bigger problem here, or the bigger opportunity, is that we've leaped into being one of those teams now that you're going to have these casualties, because now it's fine-tune mode. So this is where you're like, we're a championship team. Absolutely. Sometimes you're going to lose a Foote to bring in a veteran to win the cup. So let's say we lose both of those guys this year. Hindsight, right? And then we win the cup this year. You ain't going to remember them.
No.
You're going to know you won that cup.
And you're not going to walk away. You're not going to get rid of Lazar. You're not going to get rid of Nosek. You actually went out and got those guys. So,
I just don't see how it's a good move, whether you're just afraid of going back on what you did or not. Yeah, it's just those guys have more experience. They're filling the roles better with that grit. And it is, like Bobby said, like a now move for looking good.
Where does Foote go 3 years from now anyway? Like, it's not your fourth line left winger in 3 years, I wouldn't think. And we're pretty locked up, assuming Mercer gets signed, which we all think he has to. And God knows what's going to happen with Toffoli. It's way too early for Toffoli. But
so you're saying this problem's not going away?
No, because I think we're a good team for the next 8 years. So this problem's not going away.
This is the problem you're going to have for a while, which is fine.
So then if you see that, and Tom Fitzgerald sees that, maybe the move is to get all you can for your young guys and just
use them as
sell some off at the right time. I mean, but what I was curious about, isn't it a little late for that move now, right? I mean, he's got to make a roster decision. So who really wants to jump on that now?
Well, I think the roster decision now, at least to start, is going to be Bastion on IR, and
gives you some time.
But it's also enticing.
You can't do that forever,
I think
right?
14 games.
Okay, that's not buying as much.
You come up with a player-to-player trade that maybe isn't as favorable for the other team, and then you put in a Foote, and it's on a team where he slots right in, and they don't have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. It just increases the value of that trade, and maybe a full package down the line is something for like a quality goalie or something. We don't know.
This is true.
That's their conversations.
It's funny that you're saying how Tom Fitzgerald's looking at the team now, building it out as fans. We need to start looking at the team that way because that's that's exactly right. I was thinking it's constantly about the youth and bringing them in. Like, wait a second,
we're done with the youth.
We're done with the youth. You're right,
yeah.
but it's just
that limited number
been
of
that way
spots
for so many years.
We got a few more guys to pay.
It's like,
and
we are a championship caliber
and we still
team.
have a lot from our recent deep drafts that aren't even touching the surface yet. And a lot of our team is locked up for 6 to 8 years.
Yeah,
right.
There's
most teams don't have that many guys locked up for that long.
Yeah,
What's the rule on AHL affiliates? You ever wonder if it would help the organization if they had 2 AHL teams? I mean, does that help at all? Does that help?
I don't know. I mean, Carolina this year doesn't even have one.
Yeah,
it's such a weird dynamic, that AHL thing, because like, of course they want their team to do as good as possible, but your job is to feed the NHL team and to groom them like you play in the big club. So it's kind of weird that you want them to win a championship, but you're also going to take their best guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At the first chance you can. So it's just
who's the only AHL team that's not that's an independent team, not affiliated with any NHL team? There's one.
There's one that has nothing to do with any
independently owned AHL team.
Oh, I love that. Jeez, I don't
one
think
of our
I know
guys.
that.
One of our guys is signed with them this year.
I thought that, did we talk about that with
I might not have been here.
Chicago something? Or,
Chicago Wolves.
Chicago Wolves.
Yeah, Chicago Wolves.
Did we talk about that they were independent?
Yeah.
I mean,
Blockade goes there, right? Yeah, he's got no.
Yeah, that's where we're sending him, but I didn't realize they were totally independent.
Yeah, they're independent, and Carolina
who's
doesn't even have one.
Who's the farm team for the Blackhawks? Which I would assume that the Chicago Wolves would have been.
Yeah, exactly.
If they were independent.
I don't
even
I think
know.
theirs is in Milwaukee or something like that.
And some of them, share them, which is also weird. Like, that's
kind of
weird. Like,
you know what?
Yeah.
Just personally too, and Chris, you've been there a couple times, right? Like as the AHL, I just kind of looked at it as its own league for the most part. I mean, I'm going to school in Providence. I can walk to the Providence Bruins Stadium. I rooted for the Providence Bruins every single day until the River Rats came to town.
Yep.
And I threw my River Rats hat on and I cheered for them because they were the Devils affiliate. I was on the Slingshot team. And I tried to wear my Devils hat out on the ice, and they were like, "No, you can't do that." I'm like, "This is not the Devils. This is the Providence Bruins." They're like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "All right, fine. I'll just shoot the T-shirts and put it back on."
AHL is a good league. I mean, it is the second best league in the world, and it's a difficult league to play in. You know, I mean, it's definitely not as polished and clean as the NHL. I mean, I think that you see guys like maybe like an Alex Holtz. I think he would flourish more in a NHL than he does in the AHL.
Now, the next step down, the ECHL, that always gets the reputation of being somewhat of a zoo. It's the games are a little bit sloppier, and there's so much more, fighting and guys really going crazy, ape shit to try to stand out and make a name for themselves who are not necessarily on an NHL track.
Yeah.
So they kind of get that. Yep. I'm not going to use like the word bender or anything, but like, because these guys are elite athletes too. Don't get me wrong, but they're like, they're fighting more. It's more of a gladiator's pit. That's
fun, and that's another fun league.
The
Rockford Ice Hogs. That is the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, okay,
affiliate. Yeah, the Rock Hogs, which is kind of a cool logo. It's got the pig, and he's got a stick in his mouth. I like it.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Chicago's like Hog Butcher to the World, right? Isn't that one of their names?
What is it?
Chicago, Hog Butcher to the World.
That is, I have a T-shirt that says that.
City with the big shoulders. They got a million names. City with a lot of names, right?
That's
city
the best
big
one.
City.
City with a lot of names.
Town, my kind of town.
Yep. Yeah, the shitty city.
Body beat thing. Yeah.
I've never been to Chicago.
Chicago.
I've been through and around. I've never kind of hung out there. I just drove the loop around and stuff, and
one day
saw the city at a distance.
I will visit every NHL arena at some point in my life and see the Devils play.
So get that Winnebago, man.
That would be awesome. You know what? I can't say Chicago would be in my top 10 though. I mean, Chicago is supposed to be a great city, but hockey season's cold. It's called Windy City. It's just something about it never seemed that attractive to me, no matter how many times you watch Ferris Bueller.
Not called the Windy because of the actual wind, but
politics,
it is. It is called because of the wind. It's windy there.
How about this?
It is also windy there.
The 10 NHL arenas or cities that you want to visit. Go ahead. You said it's not in your top 10, so give me your top 10.
Well, yeah, one's kind of a shitty answer because I've already been there, but Montreal, I got to go back. It's like, I definitely love that place, and
It's
I would
cold
go back
there too in the winter.
That's true, but you know what? So many places were connected, underground, indoor. You don't even have to freeze your ass off. But you guys make a good point there. If I was going to go to another Canadian city, I'd love to go to Vancouver. That's a part of the world I don't know that well, Pacific Northwest. So probably also going to throw that new arena in Seattle just to try to check that out. Beyond that, boy, I would like to see some more historic stuff. I don't know. I have no real desire to see the southern cities at all. I guess I'll pick, maybe something in California because it's always a fun time. I mean, weather-wise, you can't do much better than some of that stuff. Let's see, where else do I really want to see? Buffalo. I'd like to see Buffalo. I've never been to Buffalo. I'd like to see a game there. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta think it all out and pick them all.
I would definitely, just for the sake of history, have to throw the original 6 in. So I would definitely want, New York, Boston, Chicago, Montreal.
Well, you've done Montreal. So
yeah, but I would do it again.
Do it again?
Yeah.
What's sad though? All those built. I think you meant to if you didn't. But all of them now, none of them are the historic.
I know, but still, just to see those teams. I'd love to see Detroit in the Joe Louis Arena, Vancouver and Seattle, no doubt. Most of the Canadian teams, I would want to go to Winnipeg and Calgary. I know it's ice ass cold, but I just would love to go there and.
I think Calgary seems like more fun than Winnipeg.
I hear they're fun cities. Definitely California, San Jose, Anaheim, and the Wild. That might even be 10 or over 10 right now. But I like Minnesota. I agree.
Minnesota is a cool state. It really is.
I don't think I go south of, New York on any of mine.
I'm trying to think. That's a tough call there. Do I want to go see Dallas? No, I don't.
No, but I would maybe Phoenix. I would maybe put on that list. I'd put the Yotes on that list. Only if it's in the Mullet Arena, though.
Yeah. Cool stuff
to see the Devils and the Yotes in that 5,000-seat arena would be awesome.
That's a good point. It would be cool to go into that tiny little arena. As much as the NHL considers it an embarrassment, that's got to be a great way to see a game.
I would definitely okay, so I maybe have like 15. But how about Bobby? Your fucking wheels have been spinning for.
The first, I was just writing them down. The first 5 or 6 came to me really easy, and it's kind of similar to both you there, but definitely the whole West Coast and even most of Canada for sure. So I know Vancouver. These are just off the top of my head. I think it'd be fun to actually sit down and say if I could only ever do 10, what would they be?
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot about that.
Colorado. Definitely.
I put Vancouver, Vegas, Seattle, Toronto.
Vegas. I forgot Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas,
Chicago, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, Buffalo, and San Jose. I don't know why. I just felt like I needed something in California there too.
Oh man, I don't think I can narrow it down to 10.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
I really don't. I forgot about a bunch of teams.
I mean, I've been obviously Philadelphia.
There's very few I wouldn't want to go theoretically.
Right.
I would go to every single. That would be cool to hit every single place. Maybe there's a couple I would skip.
Yeah, like
Philadelphia, New York. I have no desire to go there.
I don't have a desire to go to Miami. I don't want to.
I don't want to go to Miami. I don't want to see Tampa, Dallas.
Tampa, I wouldn't mind. I hear the arena's nice and the people, the games are wild. They would be distant, but I would say if I had to go.
Suppose if you're doing this trip and you're going from ice to ice to ice, you drop into Tampa, it wouldn't be so bad for a weekend.
Yeah, that's true. If you work it out right, and you can somehow make sense out of going from Winnipeg to Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
But even Carolina might be a cool place to see a game. Those fans look pretty fucking wild. That looks like a good time. Washington, maybe. I don't know. I don't really have a desire. You've been there though, right, Bob?
I've been there. I mean, it wasn't a suite. It was suite, which was awesome. It was the first time I've ever been in a suite. And I was watching a World Series game, but like I said, I did like the arena, but I don't know how I would appreciate the experience as a Devils fan in the stands at the same time. I don't know, because I was there just kind of impartial to that game and just had fun. So,
hey guys, football is back this weekend. You need to get your gamble on. You know how you can do that?
Well, you tell me.
I will. DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's right, just $5 down on any of this week's matchups. You can get a instant winner.
Wow.
And DraftKings not stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Football is more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. For problem gambling, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Dun, dun, dun.
That's
We're back.
awesome. Now you were just asking, how to get in on the action, and then you just went on to all that right off the top of your head. So that was very interesting.
It's crazy how it
Your
just
memory's
flows,
great.
just flows right from the
That's
brain.
pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I hear that in my sleep sometimes. I'm not even going to kid. I have a dream where
Puts me to
that's
sleep
like in the
sometimes.
background.
And it's the same ad, anybody who has DraftKings as their sponsor, it's the same ad. So if I'm listening to the NFL Network or anything, and they read the exact same one.
See what
so
he did there,
I kind
Dan?
of do know it by heart.
He just
Right?
put us up there
It's-
with the NFL Network.
Exactly. That's it. It's us. It's the NFL Network.
Red Zone, and
I think
That's it.
maybe the Olympics or something. It's just us. Like we got it here at Uncle Bucker's studio.
It was. I want to give a shout out though to Bill from the Trap Podcast. That was a lot of fun on Saturday having
So
him
much
on.
fun having Bill on.
So
was a good time.
so thank you, and hope you guys, if you checked out that show, if you didn't, go ahead.
It gives me microphone envy.
He does have a beautiful.
That's a good microphone.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty nice.
yeah, it was
Sounds
like
great.
I realized how bad our sound quality was when I listened to his microphone.
I
So
did too.
So now we all got to
anybody
get
listening,
the same one.
I really appreciate that anybody listens. I mean, that's pretty good. It's pretty amazing.
We do have some, not many, but we do.
I
Have
wonder
some,
if they
and
have bad listening equipment and they don't notice.
I don't know why.
A little FM radio, and they're on the
People with
Civic.
some really horrible headphones.
It's
can
crazy
take
that
the
all our
difference in sound
downloads are
quality.
coming from a school for the deaf.
So I understand. So
But
hey,
like if you are one of our listeners, can you just please email us and tell us why? Like we just don't get it.
we wanted to hear what really crappy sound equipment does.
Oh my god, it is.
I want to
bad.
know how we sound. I mean, I listen to the show and I don't notice it. It just sounds fine. And then I listen to Bill and I'm like, son of a bitch, he's been doing this a while because we don't sound like that.
We
Smooth, it's a radio voice kind of thing.
I don't even think it's anything he's doing. I mean,
No,
I
it's his
think it's
microphone.
his
equipment.
microphone.
Told you guys.
The microphone's
Microphone
just like we're like talking through these little tin straws or something. And
Yeah.
he's
His
got-
was like hanging there in front of his face.
when all
All
four
invited.
of us, or even when the three of us are
That's
on,
weird that you put it that way, Bob.
I know.
What did he say?
It was hanging there in front of his face, all inviting. All
Just
Trying to get
inviting.
some listeners.
So Bob did
We
what
have
he
to have
always
those
does.
listeners? Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
boy.
don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, I think when the three of us, like when you listen to a show, it's just the three of us. You don't, it's shitty, but we're all shitty, so it just
Right.
blends
Right.
together. When you put Bill's audio in with our audio, it's
Well,
like what is
I
it?
don't want to say you can't come on again, but can you use our microphones next time?
Well,
I'm sure he's got like his original microphone from
Yeah,
2018.
go
Maybe he
get
could
the
throw
one
that back on.
I said,
That you used
ever
to
wanna
use
be-
before you knew what you were doing, and
I'm
put
gonna
that.
tell-
Use that one.
I'm going to tell him before he comes on.
Mhm.
If you really want back on the show, it'll cost you 3 new, whatever your microphone is, Rodcasters. And
Yeah,
then
or-
you can come on.
You
We
want
all
him
have
to
the right
raise us
equipment.
up to his level. I was thinking about taking him down to ours.
I want a free good microphone. Then we don't ever have to have him back
Well,
on
your
again.
plan
We
is
just use them for the
smarter,
microphone.
but mine's like evil, and I like it.
All right,
I don't know
we'll
where I
have
would
him use
store
the
it.
shitty one. I got a
You're
hot
not
take,
shitty,
guys.
baby. Oh, hot
I
take.
got a hot take.
Hot
For
take?
this season. So we start the season next Thursday against the Red Wings. So we play the Red Wings, and then back-to-back we play the Coyotes. And we have the weekend off, and we play the Panthers. We have a couple of days off, and we're at home. We're in the island to play the Islanders, and then we are up in Montreal. Then we're home against the Capitals. Sabres at home. Wild at home. That is our month of October. My hot take. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in the month of October.
That is a hot take. You're right.
The New Jersey Devils will be 8-0 going into November. They're going to go undefeated in October. That is my hot take.
Okay, I felt a loss or two in there. I'm going to go 6-2.
Okay.
That's fair. I mean, I think when you look over the course of statistics, Bob's probably closer.
A lot
to
closer,
the truth.
yeah.
That, if you're going to take Team X and say what is their record going to look like if they're a good team, 3 out of 4, which is what 6-2 is a very good pace. However, when you look at the games, and you look at this team, and
I
you
think
really
we did this, and I went 7-1 back then.
October.
Oh, okay. So you've kind of amended there, and I feel like there's no way of knowing, but I think the 8-0 is not a crazy prediction.
I think we're gonna go through the month of October right now.
All right.
First game.
Now I got to back up my 2 losses. I was just
you can just listen and then figure it out. Make another decision if you want. Okay, we're home against the Wings on the 12th. Bobby, is that a win or a loss?
That's a win.
Dan.
Yeah, I think you have to go with win on paper with that. Look at the preseason they're coming out of.
I agree. And then we are home against the Arizona Coyotes on Friday night. I don't know if Arizona is playing the night before. I don't have their schedule, but we are definitely playing the night before. So, Bobby, home against the Yotes.
Yeah, that's a win because whoever started game 1, whoever's starting game 2, that's their home opener. So we're winning that too.
Right. Dan?
If I'm looking for a loss, I put it in a maybe column, but I'm going to say win right now.
All right. And then we have a 2-day break, and we're still home. It's a nice little homestand to start the season. And the Panthers, defending Eastern Conference champs, are coming into our building on a Monday night. We win and lose in that one day. Bobby, what do you think?
This is one of the ones I was questioning. I'm going to go back on all the credit I'm giving the Panthers for right now, and I will say we win that one too.
It's a tough game.
Yeah.
First real test of the season, right, for the Devs?
Seems like it.
They got a couple of big wins in their pocket against a young Red Wing team and a young, not so good Yote team. Maybe they're a little, first real test.
And I think they're going to see it as their first real test. So I think they're going to get up for this game big time. And don't forget, you're playing a Kachuckless team, as far as I know. So I think
he's ready, isn't he?
Is he? I thought he was going to be out for a while.
Oh,
I'll tell you the truth.
If he's ready, he's Superman. That's awesome.
I'm going to stick with my call, even if he is. I was kind of thinking he'd be out of it, in which case it's, something the Devils, because I think they're going to be looking at the conference champs, and they should look at them as the conference champs and want to take them down.
Yeah.
They should come with their best game. I'm going to be a little concerned if they can't rise to this occasion. To be honest with you, I feel better about them losing a game they should win than losing this one. So I'm going to give them a win on this as a kind of a necessary item, even if I don't think they're going to sweep. I got to give them a win here.
It's a big game. It's a statement game too. As early as only 3 games, you're 100% right. It's a statement game. You go in and you punch the defending Eastern Conference champs smack in the face. I think it does kind of send a little bit of a message early on. So yeah, they're going to win that one. And they got the weekend off, and then they play the Islanders, and that's their first road game, October 20th, which is a Thursday. No, Friday night. So Friday night, Islanders in the island after a 4-day break. Bobby.
I think this is going to be their first loss. Islanders play us tough for some reason, but it's going to be in a shootout.
All right. So we'll put that. Give you the OTL there. All right, Dan.
I always think the Islanders match up well with us. They gave us a somewhat difficult time this preseason. So you see that. Again, if you're really looking for a loss, this could be one you legitimately consider, but I'm going to say no. I think they win this one. The other thing going in the loss column, I must say, too, is a little bit of a hangover. We're kind of plotting the season along, so it's in a context. We all agreed they're going to get up for a big game against Florida. So, maybe there's a little bit of a letdown there, not taking the Islanders as seriously as they should. I'm going to give them a win anyway. But those things against them, I think that we're probably going to pick up one loss, and I'm just hoping it's not this one.
Okay. First road game, you got to establish yourself not only as a team that can win at home, but you got to establish yourself as a team that can come into your barn and beat them. This is going to be tough. This game is I don't like the Islanders exactly for what you said, Dan. They just match up so good against us. It's the only way, the way that they counter our speed is just they do it. Teams try it, but they do it the best. Still going to be a win, though. They will not be able to stop the scoring. Then we are another 4-day break, and we are up in Montreal to play the Habs. So that is at Montreal. Bob,
yeah,
that's
a
young Montreal team.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care how young and how excited they are. If we don't beat them, that's going to be really disappointing. So that's a team you have to beat if you want to be a championship team.
Yeah. I think I was going back and forth on what my actual number of losses would be, and I think I'm going to just decide it now. I'm going to give them their L here because it's so unexpected. Okay. Because this is the letdown game if there was going to be a letdown game.
It's a trap game.
And I'm just going to say, I'm trying to get have my cake and eat it too. I'm going to try to stay statistically not out of the realm of possibility. 7-1 seems a little bit more realistic than 8-0, but only just a little bit. So I'll split the difference between you two guys, and I just hope it's not an important game because I'd rather them also, if they're going to drop one, it's always like, well, does it even really count? Come on. Are you going to ever match up in a playoff series with this team?
Nope.
Are you worried about that? No,
All right, you came off a big win in the island, and now you're going up to Montreal. You're on your little 2-game road trip. The guys are going to be up there probably for a couple of days. They're going to be hitting the titty bars. They're going to be drinking. Montreal,
the titty bar
city.
I see what you called it.
They, maybe they come to the game not feeling so hot. Maybe just party a little too hard. Maybe they do that.
Ever play in Vegas?
And if they do that, it still isn't going to matter. They're going to beat the shit out of them. It will be the second road win.
No matter how good your titty bars are, Montreal.
No matter how good your titty bars are.
They cannot withstand our offense, is what you're saying.
Listen, I think Montreal has a ton of potential, but that's in a couple of years. So I think they are going to be bad, and they're going to be that team in the Eastern Conference that after maybe the All-Star break and after maybe the trade deadline, they'll start knocking some people off and playing spoiler and kind of putting their shit together. But they're not going to have their shit together this early.
Yeah.
So, all right, October 25th, we're back home against the Washington Capitals.
I think that should be a win as well. So, keeping the win column there.
Realistically, Washington usually saves a pretty good game for us. I think we handled them pretty well last year, but I don't think it was perfect. I don't remember the exact record, but I always had the sense that, Washington's had our number. We know Ovechkin's broken quite a few records in our building and against our goaltenders over the last however many years. So I feel like, Montreal still is one of those teams that if they're going to struggle, we might struggle with them. But I'm giving them a win anyway. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think that's the one they're going to drop.
Took us down a long road there.
Washington Capitals.
And then just a quick left turn into a tree.
Yeah. Washington Capitals are old and slow, and their goaltending is not very good. Devils continue the roll. They win. All right, then 2 days later, October 27th, second to last game of the month, Buffalo comes to town. Dan or Bobby, who are Bobby?
This is Buffalo's statement game for them so far this year. They want to beat us. I think we'll be ready for them, but not quite as ready. This is going to be the second loss I give them. Straight up loss. No points. They're just going to lose to Buffalo and be like, damn, we got to remember that we need to play as hard as a team like that's trying to climb their way up.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope the Devils do well against that team because that team's supposed to be them a few years ago, and you can kind of see how that might be the case. And I remember us once in a while surprising the team that was supposed to be ready for prime time. So I'm not saying it's impossible. But again, I jerked the wheel left into a tree. No, the Devils are going to win that game.
Wasn't the wheel you were jerking.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever floats your boat.
Caster. Yeah, look, Bobby, you're so right. This is Buffalo's.
Thanks, man.
Like, you're welcome. This is Buffalo's statement game, right?
First devil you know. Now you're compliments.
You're on a roll.
You're on a roll, Bob. You're on a roll.
So they're going to come into town. This is, the team. Devils are favored in a lot of books as a top 3 or 4 team. Buffalo wants to come in and do what the Devils did last year. They want to, punch a really good team in the face. They're going to want to, but the Devils aren't going to allow them to. That's not going to – the Devils know that, and they're not going to let this little punk startup team, not the first month of the season. Nope. Buffalo.
See, Chris isn't surprising anybody because here we went on record saying they're going 8-0.
I know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now I'm just listen. Legitimately, Buffalo's a fucking tough game. I'm living up to the 8-0 I already spit out, so I'm just making up reasons that they're going to.
I love it.
All right, we finished the season off against the Minnesota Wild. Real quick though, if they do have a tremendous, October, I might not be so apprehensive about picking them to go undefeated in another month. So I just think right now. They haven't lost yet, so they're going undefeated. Minnesota, come to town. I'm sorry. It's a home and home, actually. October 29th to November 2nd. So our first game is in New Jersey against the Wild. The last game in the month of October, Bobby.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tough game. I think Minnesota plays us tough for sure, but they're going to be reeling from that loss in Buffalo. They're not going to have it, but it's not going to come easy. They'll get their 13th out of 16 points in October, but that will be in overtime.
An OT win?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
We'll go on predictions. Let's go crazy.
All right, then I'm going to give that Buffalo game an overtime win. You get the win, though, even if that happens in regulation. Okay, so Dan?
What's the date on? October 29th. Okay. Well, it's not Halloween, so I think we'll be okay. I was only worried if it was Halloween. Our record on Halloween is horrible. No, I don't know. I think they're going to win this game. And I realize that if we keep going like this, we'll have them going, I don't know.
Like 70-12?
maybe worse. Maybe even a more homer. At this rate, it would be even less than that as loss column. So there's something unrealistic about what we're picking here, but I get the point. I understand where you're at with this because when you look at this now, you look how good the team is, it's kind of hard to pick which matchups they're going to let you down on because they should win every single one of them on paper. That's what it comes down to.
You're 100% right. And when this month is over and we do this going on, we'll probably be much more accurate, at least have a much better idea of how this team is playing. But as of right now, the way this team looks, they look like they can beat everybody. So I'm looking until somebody beats them, and I'm not even talking about tomorrow night against the Rangers on the final preseason game. It's preseason. It doesn't matter. Right. But right now, Bobby,
it'll matter if they're 6-0.
You had the Devils in the month of October going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 2.
6-2 with an overtime loss for 13 points. Yeah.
Dan, you have the Devils going 7-1 in the month of October.
Yeah, I just kind of split the difference with you two.
And I got them going 8-0.
Yeah, and I think honestly, a 3 out of 4 run is really a huge winning percentage that would get you close to the President's Trophy or better at a normal clip. So. I mean, statistically, Bob's got it there. I get it. But I also understand, what? There's no reason to think they won't.
We could be all blown up on this by game one. Nobody thought that they were going to start 0-2 last year either.
Absolutely. You're 100% right.
Absolutely.
So, it's
I just hate opening day losses, so I get very angry.
Yeah.
So if anyone sees me there, don't look at me if they're losing.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. Then again, everybody that we're interacting with seems to be far more hot and cold than we are, so
this is true. So we're going to probably wrap it up, but do you have already who you're picking for the first goal of the year? Does anyone already have that in their head?
I have not.
I can't pull the Holtz card 2 years in a row, right? So I
thought you were gonna.
I gotta think on that. No, I gotta be honest.
How do you not pick him?
I know.
I was thinking about this. You would have to pick him because
I might.
If
pick
he
him.
scores now, you're gonna feel.
I thought last year he was finally over the hump. That's why I picked him and everything. This year, although he's done fine in the preseason, I have to just readjust. Seeing some of the way that the guys we have scoring right now and all that talent up front, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a goal on the first shift. And he might not be on that first line. Depending on who they decide to, is it Heischer's line or Hughes' line, we don't even know who'll get the opening face off. So I need to think about that for a minute.
I mean, I don't even know. There's so many guys that'd be great to see. Oh yeah, first goal was by some of these new guys
like Siegenthaler.
Well, I was going to say like any of the big names, the Foley's, Meyer, Hughes is going to be great. But yeah, if it's like a Siegenthaler, for instance, or a guy just really wasn't looking for that much production, it's almost anticlimactic, right?
Yeah.
For that silly little moment. But I'll tell you what I care about more than like who scores the first goal in the season is getting everybody their firsts fairly quickly in the season. I hate to see anybody start out with a drought. And if this team, has so many people who could pitch in, to see them all contributing, like everybody's moving, that would be really good to see them on a score sheet early on. Maybe first 10 games, you got, everybody on your top two lines has points. Like that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. And is anyone else thinking like, oh shit, I hope Bratt is a lot more consistent because I don't want him to peak in the preseason.
About him.
Like, he just had a freaking hat trick. Does that mean he's not scoring again until November?
I was thinking about him for a first goal, and then I was thinking about how like unbelievably on fire he was, and then I was thinking exactly what you said, how it didn't even matter. So what I want to do is see a new Bratt where he just doesn't ever go away 100%. That he's dangerous every game. And I don't care about the scoring streaks, and I don't need a Bratt trick, but I really, really want him to see him be dangerous, effective, two-way, active player every single game, whether he scores or not. That would be awesome because then that's not going to go away for the playoffs, and then we're in good shape.
He's been one of the most impressive people in preseason so far, and all around his all-around game has just been, and he's so freaking fast. He's even faster. He looks faster than
he looks better, doesn't he? He looks even better. I know.
Looks like
this gives me a new hot take.
It's sick.
This does give me a new hot take now that we're talking about it. Here's my hot take.
You already said they're going 7.
Here's my hot take for the season.
You thought you said hot cake.
They will score on the first shift of the game. How cool would that be?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All
so
right.
The first, 35, 45 seconds, something like that, right?
All right. I like it.
There you go. I don't know which line it's going to be yet, but
it'll probably be the Heischer line.
Just to blow that arena up, man. They score that fast.
You're going to start, the captain, I think, is going to start the season out. That's what I think.
Then it may just be Holtz.
It might be. But we'll find out a week from Thursday. But we are going to come back later on this week. We'll talk about the final preseason game, make some early season predictions like first goal and shit like that. So whoever...
first secondary assist.
First secondary assist by a defenseman.
Our last preseason...
In the second period.
In the second period.
The last preseason game is tomorrow, right?
Your face was frozen.
Me? It was like some weird expression.
It was so funny. Yeah,
whenever a face freezes, it's always the dumbest expression.
Max.
Holy shit. What were you saying there, Dan?
Yeah, right now I froze up. I don't know. I feel like I forgot my point right about now.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all good.
So check us out. 5-star review. What else? Download. Give us a listen. Tell a friend. We appreciate it. It goes a long way in promoting.
That was the point, by the way.
Yes, please.
Tomorrow night isn't, I believe, the last preseason game. We have the New York Rangers, so that should be, who cares about these preseason games? But wouldn't you love to wrap up the preseason beating the Rangers? I mean, kind of a nice way to end it. Gives it some meaning.
Beat the Rangers, go 6-0. My only problem is I kind of wish that they played a little bit later into next week. They're going to have 8 days off before opening day.
Yeah,
and maybe it doesn't matter, but they just have a lot of momentum right now. I'd like to see them maybe playing a little bit more.
I see what you're saying, but this team, I don't know how much that matters. It's kind of like you just put them out there and say, go ahead, go play, and they just go and score at will. But yeah, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the Rock against the Rangers for the final preseason game. I really wanted to go last night. I was bummed. I had availability of tickets, and I got stuck going up to the city. But there are a lot of Uncle Pucker stickers splattered around Madison
the
Square
arena
Garden.
to go to the city.
Yeah, I know. That was the painful thing. And then all I was thinking
There it
about
is.
was like, at least I know that Devil fans are coming home happy and not like the Giant fans coming home last night that just probably wanted to drive their car into a barricade after that game.
It's tough.
Yeah, that was brutal.
It's tough when you know it's over this early.
And I've said it before. Daniel Jones should give at least a third of his paycheck to Ed Donatel, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings last year. He had 2 good games. They gave him a $160 million contract, and now he's dog shit. That's why, because he's not very good. He had 2 good games against a really bad defense. So that's all. For that, Dan, Bobby, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers, and we'll see you when we see you.
Later.
Puckers out.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!